Now, over in the States, President Obama is trying to get a new tax and spend policy off the ground.
Yes, that's right. He's offering, in fact, to cut the rate that companies pay in tax and close some loopholes as well that sees a lot of companies managing to almost pay no tax at all or very little on their foreign earnings. This is what he's saying. He says that he'll reduce the upper rate from 35% to 28%, but he wants something in return. He wants to use the billions, potentially, of dollars of tax revenue for things like infrastructure investment, also education as well. Well, Republicans seem unlikely to back the latest move. They would rather see overall cuts in spending. Let's listen to the president as he makes his case.
So, again, here's the bottom line. I'm willing to work with Republicans on reforming our corporate tax code as long as we use the money from transitioning to a simpler tax system for a significant investment in creating middle-class jobs. That's the deal.
President Obama there. Well, it's also a big day for economic news in the US. We'll get figures on the April to June growth. That's expected to be down on what we saw in the first quarter of the year. Also, word from the Federal Reserve on its plans for its multi-billion-dollar bond buying program. And that's perhaps why we're seeing a bit of nervousness from investors in the markets. And the Nikkei there falling back. But the other markets pretty flat for the time being.
Now, voting is underway in crucial elections in Zimbabwe, and the economy is a key issue there.
That's right. Polls have opened. And, of course, 5 years ago, the economy in Zimbabwe, very bleak. And things have improved since then. But as voters start going to the polls, they face very different choices on the way forward for the economy. Hala Mohideen has more.
After the chaos following the last election, Zimbabwe's economy has improved. Gone are the days of empty supermarket shelves and inflation of over 230 million%.
2008 for Zimbabweans was a kind of a year zero. Since 2009 and the dollarization and the sort of limited investment that's come in, things have improved. But I think the economy has flatlined a little bit over the last year or so, partly because of political uncertainty.
GDP grew over 20% between 2009 and 2011, but growth was a mere 5% in 2012. The upcoming election has investors nervous due to the conflicting policies of the major candidates. Robert Mugabe wants to continue the policy of indigenisation, asking international subsidiaries of foreign companies to transfer at least 51% of their shares to black Zimbabweans. Opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai is opposed to this and wants to open up the country to further investment. Whatever the results, the challenge ahead remains huge. An estimated 75% of the population are out of work and over 70% live below the poverty line. And with international sanctions still in place, Zimbabwe's future is far from certain.
Well, let's get some of the day's company news now. And the aerospace group EADS has confirmed that it's renaming itself Airbus. The company also gave details of its latest results, which saw sales up 3% to about 14 billion euros. Airbus also said its order target will rise 25% this year to more than 1,000 aircraft.
Struggling French carmaker Peugeot Citroën has managed to rein in its losses. The company said net earnings were 400 million euros in the red. That's around half the loss reported in the same period last year.
Profits down slightly at France's biggest bank, BNP Paribas. They fell around 5% to 1.75 billion euros. But the bank says it plans to boost its presence in Germany with an extra 500 hires there.
Heading to New York now, where the row over banning big sugary drinks continues.
Yes, and we visited this many times. The mayor there, Michael Bloomberg, said that he wanted to ban these fizzy sugary drinks over 16 ounces or about half a litre to us. Now, that still isn't in force after a court blocked it the day before it was due to go into action. And now another court has upheld that ban, said it's unlawful and he overstepped his mark. Well, the mayor says he's going to fight on, so it's not the last we've heard of this. Meanwhile, we thought we'd take a listen to some New Yorkers on what they think about the ban.
It's America. You can't tell us what to drink. You can't tell us how much to drink. We make our own choices. That's what's great about this country.
The sodas are a little bit much. The big drinks, I don't think people should be having the big sodas anymore.
All right, thank you very much, Matthew. That's it for business. Time now for Focus.